and it might not ever happen again. So just something I thought I'd share, because I know a lot of people do this, and I've done this myself before, where I've lost all my funding. Just not feeling with much confidence, do you know what I mean? We'll see if we can get there, we'll see if we... What's happening, people? How are we doing? So, it's Monday. I didn't really pick up the camera much today, to be honest. The market was quite quiet. I thought we were going to get a trade this morning, and we didn't. So, I just went for a nice long walk with Steph, walked the dog, and then went and did food shopping, had a bit of a chilled lunch, and yeah, cracked on from there, really. But short this morning. We finally broke that range, obviously, the other day that we spoke about. So looking for sells, sort of taking out this liquidity down here. We've got a lot of liquidity stacked on the 15M, sort of all of this. I would like to see go. So I was looking for shorts this morning. I wanted to see that get taken out, a point of liquidity. It didn't. And you then decide to get in here because you're a trader and you have to trade. They're the decisions that are taking what might be a slow week or a break-even week. And they're the decisions that are making you -5, -6, -7. That are putting you in so much drawdown that you're then making yourself a mountain to climb out of. They're the decisions that when we talk about consciousness and competence and experience and self-awareness and like the greed and the FOMO and the environment and the image and the identity, all these different things, they are things, part of the psychology that is important for a trader to have. And you might think it's easy, you might be experienced, you might go, that's not me. We've all done it. I know many a time where I'd go, yeah, I want to see that go or that go, only for like 3 or 4 minutes later to be in here and it'd be running and I'd be like, ha, see, I'm a sick judge of character, the market, I know it inside out like the back of my hand, only to then go and do that tomorrow and Wednesday and get smashed. And that's why I've always said the trades that don't fit your plan like this, that you win on, they're the worst trade. What's happening, people? How we doing? It's Tuesday. I'm in the car again. Just dropped the little one to school, dropped Steph to work, and now I'm on my way to find a coffee. There was a new coffee van I wanted to try. I waited till they open at 9, and then I queued for about 10 minutes. It seems to be really popular. And unfortunately, they had no water, so they couldn't make coffee. They could only make tea because they were using the kettle because the water's frozen, because it's about -7 this morning. I don't know if my car was reading that perfectly right. My phone said about -5, but it was fresh this morning. And obviously a little part of me was gutted. You know what it's like, you get buzzing up for that coffee, you're getting excited to have that coffee. Obviously trying something new, you're like, yeah, sweet, big fan of coffee. And unfortunately, don't get one. You leave empty-handed, right? So that kind of expectation that you created is no longer being met. Therefore, that's what can make people be moody or miserable or govern their mood or make them, you know, lash out or be nasty or whatever or malicious because they haven't got what they thought they were going to get. Whereas I thought of it as, wow, okay, I don't get my coffee, but I can pretty much go home to get a coffee, or I can go anywhere to get a coffee, really. This person, unfortunately, she can't make any money this morning because of the weather. And obviously when you think of it like that, a different perspective, you immediately change your response. So, yeah, not ideal, but obviously that's the realities. Unfortunately, in this country, when it gets cold, a lot of things just don't work well. And I'm sure other countries probably laugh at us, but look, it is what it is. So I'm not sure I'm going to go. I've got a haircut. It's the only reason I'm going for a coffee. Obviously, I've got a perfectly good coffee machine at home. I don't normally go out and just buy a coffee for the sake of it. Also, I need to go to the post office to drop off. I've basically done like an allergy test for like foods and stuff. So I need to drop that off. Charts this morning, a little bit unfortunate again. EU short, wanted to see shorts. It swept at around 7:30, I think, and then went without me. So yeah, tough one again because bias is right, logic, everything's right, the level's right, just that door to open to get the entry wasn't. You know, I've got to stick to the system at the end of the day. I can't just, you know, pretend, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll hit it anyway because it's going to work, or it could have worked, or it should have worked, or whatever you want to make up, right? And look, that's the realities of it. Again, you know, some weeks are slow, some weeks are busy, some weeks, you know, nothing's happening. Some weeks the market runs from you. It's not doing it intentionally. It's not doing it because it hates you. It's just doing it because that's how it goes. Okay, so we don't have coffee. They didn't have any coffee. They were only doing lattes and tea. So the search for cappuccino continues before the haircut. Will we make it? Will we not? Who knows? Trim done, feeling good. Does anyone else make sure after they have a trim that they wash their hair? If you don't, and you're just one of these nutcases that goes out and about your day, and then you got hair like in the back of this, and it itches, and you can tell me they put that thing round your neck, like the white paper, and then they put the thing on. Hairs still get through, and it does my nut. So I always have to make sure, get back, wash my hair, took Bruno out for a cruise. I won't say the word because you'll get excited thinking we're going again. Currently just at the chart, just seeing what happened this morning. So yeah, EU just fell off a cliff. Pretty much met the range that we'd been trading in for the majority of January. It's pretty much taken it out within a day. I'm going to make some lunch. I'm going to make soy chili chicken just for me, eating for one today. But I'll make enough that obviously there's batch, so I can have some tomorrow if I want. Absolute phenomenal this. What happens on the chart today, it could be one of those weeks this week. And like, I guess this pivots me into something where it's like, you know, do you actually want to be a trader? And do you actually understand what comes with being a trader? Is trading actually for you? You know, this is something that I don't think we consider when we get into trading. And I'll be honest, I didn't. You know, I truly didn't. The perception I had of trading was someone that makes a lot of money from anywhere in the world with very little effort. Oh boy, was I wrong. And, you know, it's been a wild ride ever since. But I'm hooked on the fact that I do think it is one of the best jobs in the world. A lot of people are not sure and didn't think before they came into it, you know, oh, it's going to like demand of me a lot of effort. It's going to demand of me, you know, a lot of challenges and failures. And there's a lot more to this trading malarkey than I originally thought. And look, you know, obviously there's always things hidden in anything we do. And I think you just need to understand, you know, ask yourself realistically this year, is it actually for you? And if it is, then brilliant. You know, what do you need to do to make it work? If it's not for you and you're holding on to it, sometimes we hold on to things because, you know, there's that, there's a bias. I can't remember what it's called. It's going to annoy the hell out of me. When I think of it, I'll write it here. But it's basically the bias of like, when you spend so much time doing something, because you've allocated so much time to the thing, you almost don't want to give up, or you almost don't want to pack it in because you think that the reward's going to be worth it. However, what you are doing is almost just putting yourself in more of a pit, more of a hole, you know. And if trading is something that's actually negatively impacting you, your finances, your mental health, your mindset, your relationships, that, you know, your persona, you do have to ask, like, yes, you've put in all that time, but like, actually, is it worth it for me? If you're someone that's been going around for years and you're starting to realize maybe it's not for you, maybe it's the thing that makes you unhappy, maybe it's the thing that, you know, isn't for you, you do have to ask these questions. You do have to ask, what is the cost? What is it affecting? Is it affecting my relationship? You know, I've spoken to people in the past, their girlfriends, their wives have left them because of how stressed they are, and they're losing all their money and they're not getting anywhere. And, you know, if it's putting that kind of pressure on you, yes, there's that, well, obviously they weren't for me, they weren't meant to be, and all that crap. But there's also that element of, like, if you were happy and successful prior to trading, and maybe you took up trading during COVID and stuff, like what is the cost of you doing it versus not doing it? Now, the benefits, again, you need to write down pros and cons, right? I always do this for every decision that I make. I'll have a list of pros, a list of cons, and I'll weigh them up against one another. What I'm trying to get at is I see a lot of people, unfortunately, spending money they don't have, a lot of people getting misguided, a lot of people not doing the correct things to get them to the level they want to be at. They do believe that they might watch a video, get a prop firm, get a lucky streak in the market and make a load of money. But even the ones that have done that, even the ones that have had like 60 grand month payout, the month after they don't have any money, they've lost it, they've lost their accounts. You know, someone asked me the other day, how do you deal with the fact that, you know, what if trading this month's slow? What if you don't make any money? And, you know, that's something you just have to get used to. It's part of the game. Like, I could go through the whole of Jan, make no money at all, turned up every day, done my process, done my routines. That's just something I have to accept, right? That's why I always say don't go all in on it, because it could be a lot riskier and a lot more stressful. But also, I could then go January nothing, and in February I could make enough to cover Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. So there's always that, right? And when you've experienced it already, as I have, it keeps you there because you know that nothing really can beat that. But it's just something I wanted to share. Like, these are like the insights to a full-time trader. You know, I've been doing this for 3 years now, full-time, since I left my job. I always remember my boss at the time saying, you know, good luck, but you'll probably be back. And my boss prior to that, I once remember saying to him, when I asked for more money, he said, get some skills and maybe one day you'll make 40k a year. Yeah. Sweet, mate. So, you know, like when I look back, it's been a sick journey. I've learned a hell of a lot, but it's unfair for me to just always share. Like, I see a lot of people going, I'd love to have all that freedom to do that. Just remember, when you've got it, you've got to make sure you're utilising and optimising, because again, time's finite. You're not going to have time forever. So you then start to feel guilty that you've not used your time correctly. And before you know it, you're like in your head. So yeah, just something to... Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? So I just finished gym session. Not as cold this morning, which was nice. Got my pool session in, done, job done. Pretty busy again this morning, but I rate people, new people coming to the gym. Hopefully they just stick it out. I do wish the gym had a couple of more machines, just because when you've got exercises you want to do, you're like, oh. But what it is doing is it's allowing me to improvise and find other exercises that hit the same muscle groups, and that's nice and that's always fun, and it keeps the routine good. Obviously I've had a program written for me, so I'm just following that for the minute. But yeah, I'm just gonna make some eggs and then crack on with London session, and then I'm off to London after London session. But I wanted to say, so I'm bearish overall in EU still, and obviously it's had a massive impulse down. It's cleared that daily range, the one that I've been wanting to get cleared and wanting to be a part of the move. I caught a couple of trades in it, but nothing that actually went like to the lows or anything. And now is when our minds plant seeds, right? So we go, oh, because it's sold off aggressively, it's going to pull back. So what you do is, although you are bearish, because it could pull back, which again is a seed we're planting in our head, because we deem it to be, but we always want to be right as humans. Like, we have this kind of bias in our head that we're like, yeah, well, if I kind of cover both scenarios, then I won't be wrong. And in theory you won't, but you won't make money at the same time still. And you probably won't progress, because you're not actually allowing yourself to kind of excel. You're kind of just keeping yourself back and being like, yeah, I want to be right, and that's more important for me, so I'm not going to, you know, get in trade today. So what I could easily do today, it's a great example, is I could say to myself, yeah, it's had a big sell-off. I'm still bearish, still looks good and primed for shorts, but it could pull back. Therefore, I'm going to ignore the sell when it comes, because I think it could pull back. Only then for it to go and work, and then for me to be like, oh, I should have took that win, or I should have took that trade. That was my edge. I didn't follow my edge, therefore I didn't follow my process. Therefore, the outcome likely will be different. And then what you do is then you either get annoyed, that triggers something, you then start taking bad trades to kind of counter the trade that you just took, or you take a trade tomorrow that wasn't as good, wasn't your plan, but you do it because you want to get that loss back, right? And then you've not followed your process all week, then you've not followed and done the things that you said you were going to do, and then, morning mate, you're right. And then you obviously end up in a position where you're just going around in this loop again. And you've heard me speak about this loop a lot, and it's because a lot of people are in the loop and they can't get out of the loop. And like, it all can stem from you making a decision today of wanting to be right, by saying, yeah, sold off quite heavy, looks quite aggressive, definitely going to get a pullback here. But if you look at EU even last year, of course there was pullbacks and things, but if you look at it on the grand scale of things, there were days where it just sold and sold for weeks, right? So if your edge is there and it's letting you in, but you're saying, oh, but I think it could do this, you don't know anything. Like, the reality of it is we don't know what's going to happen, right? It's all hindsight, and it's all well and good saying today, right, you're short, so if it sets up, doesn't work, it's easy to go, oh, see, I knew I should have added that element of intuition in and stop myself getting in. But you've got to ask yourself, okay, did you test that way? Did you gather your data that way? Did you forward test that way? How does that actually work for you over a large period of data? Like, because everyone bases things on one experience. So you'll have like one thing that will happen, and you'll all of a sudden change your whole plan and your whole system based on that one thing, but you don't actually have congruent data on it or congruent experience with it, and it might not ever happen again. So just something I thought I'd share, because I know a lot of people do this, and I've done this myself before, so just something I'm trying to be really aware of. It's like, I'm bearish still, yes, we've had a big move. If it sets up and it gives me the confluences I want, I need to be looking at getting involved realistically. Unless obviously there's like a big news event, or there's something really point blank obvious, or something you have in your edge that can stop you, then by all means. But I only burned my eggs then. Other than that, obviously I'm off to London today. I've timed it strategically, so obviously, again, I meet up with a friend once a month, we go for some food, we always try like a new place to eat in London, we do an activity, it's important to do, and it's always good vibes. He's like into his business and, you know, entrepreneurship and growth as well, so it's like never a dull conversation, it's always good. But we're also massive foodies, so we were like, let's just try a new spot every month in London. So it's his turn today. I think we're going to Blacklock, which is a steakhouse if I'm right. Meant to be banging, so I'll let you know what that's saying, obviously bring you along with me. Obviously also, I'm going to time it so that when we get to London, we go for lunch. It's not in my New York session. And then after lunch, yeah?
When are doing the poo?
Alright, I'll come and get it in a minute, alright? And then we've got like, I think we're going clay pigeon shooting at like 3:30. So again, end of my session. So I've been strategic in the way that I plan the day. Obviously, I only need to be on my phone for a couple of minutes if a trade's setting up, but I need to make sure that I'm able to do that. Obviously in London, there's not as much signal sometimes, so I'm just preparing for that. And that's pretty much it. Like obviously you create the freedom, like I was saying yesterday, you create this freedom. It's important that you actually use the freedom and, you know, you do something with the freedom, because it's very easy to get kind of caught up in this, I've got to be at the chart all day, but I can go out, have a good day, make some memories, you know, mix up my week, which I like doing, it breaks my week up, and then I can obviously, you know, if a trade comes, I can get in it. I've made my edge in a way that allows me to do that. Obviously, again, it depends on edge. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to munch my eggs, and then I'm going to go and see what London's saying. So I'll catch you all. Have a good one, yeah?
Don't worry about the change. Yeah, thanks.
Cheers, mate. Blacklock, gonna have to give it a 5, maybe a 6 out of 10. Not a bit of me, to be honest. Steak wasn't the best, service wasn't the best, hair in the gravy. It's just not filling with much confidence. You know what I mean? I'm trying to sound like a Karen or anything, but it's not the best. But if you want a decent steak and you're in London, flat iron wins hands down. Affordability, consistency, selection of sides, process of elimination. So I fancy something sweet now, though. I'm not gonna lie. And that's the other thing of flat iron, you get an ice cream when you leave. I want something sweet, maybe a coffee, and then we're gonna go and shoot some stuff virtually. What's happening, people? How are we doing? It's Thursday, it's London session. Yesterday I found my favourite coffee beans. So I'm hoping to replicate my favourite coffee shop's coffee. Okay. Yeah, that's decent. I'll take it. It's not perfect, but obviously the machines they've got are like 20 bags or whatever. So I'm not expecting it to be bang on, but I like that. It's decent. So London session, looking for shorts again today, and the market just said see you later. I did the same yesterday, unfortunately. This week it's literally run away from me every single day. A little bit tough. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Days like that can 100% still affect you. And there's days where when you haven't traded for like a few days, you can 100% get in your own head. You know what I mean? It's easy. And don't be wrong, I still have the thoughts of, oh, you need to do something, bro. You should be in a trade, or, you know, this is your job, what you're doing. But then I very quickly, you know, correct it that that's an error thought. It's trying to derail me. Stick to the process. And that's one of the biggest things you have to do, is understand yourself, understand your thoughts, and then find a caveat to it, and find a positive thought and reaffirm that thought, and, you know, just not do the thing. And a lot of you, you know, I've said you found yourselves doing this, but going back to when I like blow accounts, or when I've blown funded accounts, or when I put myself in big drawdown, it usually comes from boredom. It comes from the want to make money, and it comes from that guilt of not trading and thinking that's your job. And it also comes from just doing and taking trades that are actually shit. Not many, I guarantee a lot of you probably haven't blown an account. I'm talking prop firms here, because it's very hard to blow a personal. You probably haven't blown a prop firm risking on your edge. You've probably blown a prop firm by deviating from your edge, doing silly things, trading impulsively, trading aggressively, being greedy, over risking, over leveraging, hitting multiple trades, not really following a system, trading news. They're the things that have caused you to blow accounts, because I've done it. Right? I did it last year. You know, I got the ump, started getting annoyed, taking silly trades, oversizing. Before you know it, you're like, oh shit, it's gone. You know, and that's something that will not happen again. I'm not allowing that to. But it's just something to remind you of, is like, if you've blown accounts from following your edge in its entirety, then there's an issue with the edge, clearly. If you can say 100% you followed every single trade and you didn't deviate, you were in check, you were good, but somehow you blew the account on 1% or 0.5% risk, then there's a problem. And then you can dig into the problem and figure that out. Why is it not replicating what back testing replicated, or forward testing replicated, or whatever it might be? But until you can say that with confidence and with chest, then you don't know if you're actually sticking to your edge, or you're just making shit up. And it's so easy to do. This week, I can't explain to you the amount of trades where I'm like, yeah, here we go, getting ready to get in. Even yesterday, you know. and then boom, doesn't let me in. Yesterday we swept at 10, didn't remitigate until like 11ish. Then we swept at 3, didn't remitigate until like 4. You know, it's all out of my sessions. It's working every day. Bearish, 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 you know. And some people might have cleaned up this week in the way their edge works. For me, I've just been unlucky. It's not going to change anything. Obviously, what I am aware of now is I also can't create an expectation that the next trade's going to win, because it could be the L, and I could have waited all week for a loss. And that's, again, the way it goes. It's part of the game. There's literally nothing you can do about it, and uncertainty, unfortunately, will always be a thing in trading. It will always be present, and it will always be something there. I understand it wholeheartedly. I have a family, I have responsibilities. Trading is my main source of income, and I'm not making money from it right now. You know, I was very transparent about that. And I'm obviously in the process of rebuilding back, getting myself back on track, armed with the new lessons and the new information that I've obviously got. But it's like, you can't rush that. You can't. Well, you can, but it won't last long. You can easily over-risk, take mad trades, do random shit, but they create bad habits. And then what happens when you're live, or a couple of months into being live, you blow it up. So you've just got to realise this is what trading is, and anyone telling you otherwise is full of shit. They might have an edge that's more frequent, but trading is boring. Trading demands a lot of you, and probably a lot of you that you've not actually thought about. And like I said earlier in the video, you know, do you actually want this? Do you actually believe this can be a thing? And have you actually thought about what it's going to require of you? And, you know, is it a bit of you? And that's something you've got to stick with, you've got to think. But, yeah, I'm going to sit here for another sort of 45 minutes just to see the session out in case something sets up. Last thing you want to do is just lose focus, go and do something else, and then you miss a trade, because then you're like, for fuck's sake, I've waited all week, and I missed a trade due to myself. And again, that would be my error, it wouldn't be the market's error. So I'll wait till 10. I'm going to go out for a WALK. Won't say it because the big man's down here and he'll instantly think we're going. You know, one of the things I wrote down this morning to remind myself is, you know, we're often very bad at saying I have to or I've got to. But if you just change it to I get to, and you're grateful for that, and you have that abundance mindset, you just feel better about everything. And if you don't create these mad expectations, then again, you feel better for everything. And, you know, sometimes we can all create an expectation, and then when it doesn't happen, you feel rubbish. It's like yesterday is a great example, right? Went to that Blacklock, and, you know, I'd heard great things, he'd heard great things, and we'd looked on their Instagram and the pictures and all the different stuff, and obviously with people that we, you know like food too, who'd said it's great, we had this expectation of, yo, this is going to bang, it's going to slap, I can't wait. We got there, we were buzzing, and then all of a sudden we were met with this awful expectation of, this isn't actually very good. But our expectation wasn't met that day. Therefore, you go into a grump or a hump or, But if we turned up kind of like, this is a new place, we've not heard anything about it, let's check it out. Even though it wasn't great, we would have left a bit like, oh, you know, it wasn't good, whatever. But you leave in a different way because you've created an expectation. It's the same with trading. If I came to the market today and said, right, I haven't traded for 3 days, I have to trade today, and then I don't, I've created an expectation that if not met, I'm going to get the hump, I'm going to get in a mood. So just change the way you think about things and change your expectations, and don't create these massive pedestal expectations. Up. Down. Get down. Good morning everyone, how are we doing? Hope you're all well. It's Friday, last day of the week, and we're in a trade. I was downstairs doing some bits, I was out, I managed to execute it whilst on my phone, and yeah, happy days. Literally just about to get TP on it. So yeah, TP's here, so I'm not too far away. MT5 for all the random that, you know, like to see proof and all that jazz. So yeah, we'll see if we can get there. Happy days. TP hit. Job done. I'll log that in a moment. So yeah, obviously I had a busy morning, had a really busy morning. Stomach pains this morning and not feeling the best. I was in the gym doing leg day and it just wasn't nice, but I'm waiting for my results back from my allergies. So I'm really hoping something comes of that. I know it sounds weird, but I'm hoping something comes of that. Where's my goggles? Oh, here they are. Hang on. Now I look all sophisticated. No, I'm joking. I get mad headaches, is why I wear them. If you don't wear blue light glasses, honestly, get some. They change everything. I used to get really bad headaches. Since putting these on, they've stopped. I wear them before bed when I'm watching telly. No blue light before bed. I get a much better sleep, so I highly advise checking it out. So daily's bearish overall. However, it's Friday. On Friday, often I like to look for some sort of pullback. My overall market understanding and awareness, and I'm using that to kind of frame up a trade. I don't need much. I'm looking for 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s majority of the time. If I'm positioned well, I'll look to manage it a different way. Today, just a 1 to 2 job done. So yeah, obviously, so that was my logic. I was looking for longs. If we drop to the 15, I saw this liquidity that had been stacked. I didn't really need to get there, so I wasn't too concerned. But if you look at yesterday, obviously we've had this initial push from Thursday. We came back, we had a remitigation of it. Yes, we've dropped liquidity, no doubt about it. That remitigation has kind of continued. It didn't create a new high, so you could argue this is weak. However, within it, there's internal structures and whatnot. So this morning I was looking to get long. We took this liquidity out here originally at 7 Frankfurt. That's often, you know, a fake out for me. There's times when Frankfurt's great, but you get your fake out, then you get your actual move. We take that out. Yeah, so we just met this, which is fine. And then obviously we've had this kind of bearish shift. So again, logic, like we could come back into it to see shorts, or this could be a liquidity play, run the high and go lower. So again, that's kind of the logic that's going through my head at the time. I got in on the 5 minute. So we swept that. I didn't get in here. I just didn't like how we had that massive aggressive candle and then that. Kind of waited for a bit more consolidation. I would have preferred a cleaner structure, but obviously the fractal shift was there. It's too far for me by that point. So I basically played this when that shifted here. Internal, I know. I then played the retest here, got in, and off we went. So yeah, it took about 1 to 2 in a bit, 2.1. It's 2.1R, 5 pip stop to there. Happy days. Like, I'll take that all day. Puts my January to 4%. And obviously we go into next week now and we see what we do for the rest of the week. I'm on a 3-win streak now, so again, mindful the L could come, and that could have easily been the L too, right? I want to get that out there. That could have easily been a loss, and it wouldn't have affected my mood or how I felt. Exactly the same. Hopefully by now you're starting to realise whether I win or lose, nothing really changes in my voice, my body language, my persona, same stuff. So I made myself a coffee once I got in the trade. There's no benefit to me watching it. Waiting for Steph. Steph's gone swimming. And then when she's back, I think we're going to pop out and get some lunch. Obviously, you remember I made a video last year, back end of October, where I lost all my funding. If you haven't watched it, I'll link it here somewhere. You can go and check it out. I do drop a lot of value in it. It's not like a miserable sob story, because again, it's not that deep. Anyway, I bought a funded engineer account. You can see here, started on the 29th of October, right? And I'll be honest with you, back then I was emotional. My emotions were high. Even though I've done a lot of work, even though I'm aware of these things, it can still get you. You're never like a finished article, and that's something you've got to remember is you're always going to have this element of, you know, old you, right? And when you're under pressure, you will default back to old habits, and sometimes it can take a long time to understand that. I was in the middle of like implementing a couple of different things into my edge and changing a few bits and bobs, and look, you know, it's a tough time. And the reason I'm sharing this is not for validation. I don't give a shit about that. I'm doing it because there'll be a lot of people out there that are in the same position, or a lot of people out there that can perhaps take something from this. I got this challenge on the 29th of October, right? I literally sent it to the hell of drawdown. I was $461 away from blowing it up. Now, old me, risk reward wise, would have been like, this ain't worth my time. This ain't worth the hassle. Just blow it up. Because at the end of the day, it's a couple of £100. Whatevs, right? However, I said to myself, I'm not going to blow it up because that's clearly a default habit and a bad habit that allows me to think that way, that then clearly is affecting me live and clearly down the line affects me. I don't want to be in a position where I'm making a video going, I've lost my funding again. That's got to stop, right? So it's things like this that can cause that. So I said to myself, I'm going to try my best to get out. I didn't risk stupid. I didn't do some wonder shot, one kill. I took 3 months nearly to get out of the drawdown. I got into that drawdown on the 19th of November and I almost hit it again by an extra £300 on the 27th of November. It was a tough time. Then I said, right, cool, it's time to get out of it. Obviously, caught a couple of good trades, started to look good, and then I just sat. This is how an equity curve can look. But look what happens over consistency. All of a sudden, we're back at BE. Now, that's not like, oh, you passed it, well done, mate. I'm not bothered about that. What I'm bothered about is I said to myself I was going to do something, and I did it. And you'll notice every single video, I'm always saying the way you speak to yourself, your identity is molded in the way you speak, the things you say and the things you do and don't do. I'm not saying I guaranteed myself out of drawdown, but all I did is trusted my process, backed myself and rolled with it and took out the whole I need to be quick because the online world says you should do this quick. Trading is portrayed in such a way online that it can get in your head, it can mess you up, it can make you feel a certain way and make you feel not good enough or inadequate or that someone's got something you haven't. And a lot of you like look up to me, right? You might have me on a pedestal and I just want to share. It's why I share all the stuff I share, the vulnerabilities. I have it hard too. I still have those times where I'm like, rah, man, this is tough. But I'm growing every day. I literally just spoke to Henzo. We've traded together for a long time. And we both said, you know, this week is a great example of a week where we might have defaulted slightly. It's easy to do. We might have done something we shouldn't have done. We might have, you know, not taken that trade. It's Friday. I'll just wait till next week. There's so many things that could have come in, right? But we went, no, I'm going to take it. Just follow my system. It's all I'm waiting for. I generally believe that, and I said it before, all the consistency I've ever had in trading has come when I'm not bothered about the process. I'm not letting people govern me. I'm locked in on myself. I'm following my routines. I'm disciplined. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. That is the recipe. Consistency, discipline, focus. Everything else comes. And sometimes we brush our wins off or things like that off. There's a version of yourself that probably never dreamt of doing that. And there's many of you that have probably done that. Just give yourself a pat on the back, innit? Big ups to yourself. Like, you're doing things that a lot of people can't do. A lot of people can't get out of that drawdown. They'll stay in it forever. They'll blow it up. They'll buy another one. They'll blow it up. They'll buy another one. And it just repeats. Don't let that be you.